Good morning, Shelley Shearer here from Genesis Consulting, and you might be a little confused if you're catching this video on my YouTube channel, which is under the Living Well with Shell company that I run. And the reason for that is I think it's actually rather valid for both sides of my business to hear my little message today on accounting and bookkeeping. Now, for those of you that are on my Genesis Facebook page and know the company, please, you've only got one more week. If you're self-employed, you need to have your taxes done in Canada, okay? So in Canada, the April 30th deadline does not apply to self-employed. You have till June 15th. However, this is what most people forget. You are still required to pay your taxes by April 30th. And people usually that, sort of are great at their businesses but don't like the accounting side of it are usually like, well, that makes no sense. Yes, it does, because there are still deadlines within Canada, and if you are owing money and are self-employed, dollars to donuts, you are on an installment plan. And if you are not, and it's maybe your first year or two, they will put you on one, the CRA. And so as long as you've been making your installment payments 3 to 4 times a year, you should be fine. The question is, have you? And what I have found with most self-employed people is they do not. GST and taxes tend to get new small businesses in trouble. You forget to make your installments or pay them every month. You never want to get behind on your commodity taxes, okay? That will put you into debt and bury your business faster than anything else you could do, is to get behind on, say, payroll or GST or PST payments, okay? So you need to be making installment payments on your taxes. Now, when I say self-employed, I'm not talking about people that own a corporation. This is those of you that are running full-on businesses or a side business to your T4 that is a sole proprietor. And there's a whole section on your tax return that you fill in with, all the information they require. And if you do not know what you are doing, please, for the love of all that's holy, get yourself an accountant or bookkeeper, okay? I do not do taxes, so I'm sorry, don't contact Genesis for that. We can't help you, but we can refer you to a number of people in the Lower Mainland that are just brilliant at this sort of work. And it is very important because if you are not an expert, you do not know what you do not know. And so you could be missing on tax write-offs. Your vehicle may not be being handled properly or legally. You may not be handling your amortization or capital assets you've purchased for your business. Your vehicle is always your biggest write-off with a sole proprietor. But for instance, I run a company that has $1,000 units for ionic foot baths. Those are a depreciating asset in my business, and you need to be aware that if you've bought new computers or furniture or things that are over a few $100s, 5 is kind of the threshold, those things are capital assets and need to be amortized and added to your tax return appropriately, and you need to keep a list of them and keep your records for 7 years. So there's a number of things here that if you are not aware of, you need to talk to a tax professional. Now, it's been very frustrating, I must say, in my own family just recently, in the fact that my father was self-employed, owned his own business for years, but since he retired, that part of it has gone sideways for them, and my mom is looking after the finances, and she doesn't have an accountant. She's been sort of relying on me a little bit, and my knowledge is limited as well. There are reasons, there are professionals out there that do what they do. Tax accountants, tax and family and estate lawyers, business lawyers, when you need proper insurance, buy-sell agreements. There are many, many things that you need to be aware of. And what I've really found in the last decade is that a lot of the tax professionals and legal firms have been becoming quite specialized. So in the old days, you used to maybe perhaps have one accountant, one lawyer. Nowadays, you might be with a firm, and they might have people that have specialities within their firm. So it really depends on the size of your business and the type of business that you're in, what you might need. But the biggest thing for my small business clients is your bookkeeping. Now, there's a couple of ways you can go. If you are under $30,000 a year and you do not carry a GST number, you might just be happy keeping it in an Excel spreadsheet or keeping all your receipts by type. We do not need them by month. If we are doing your taxes at the end of the year, we need them by type. So meals and entertainment, office supplies, purchases, all your vehicle expenses, those things need to be broken out for us as tax accounting professionals. Again, I'm sorry, I don't do taxes any longer, but I did for years. And we don't care about them by monthly. The only reason we might need them by month is if we are, like, for instance, I have a small client, a real estate agent, and I do his GST every quarter. Or every quarter. And so I need those things for months at a time, but I don't need them broken out like that at year end. There is a form in your, for business expenses, excuse me, and activities in your in your tax return, and it's very specific. You might even want to just go on the website and print it out. And then you can see the categories and know what you should be looking for. So please, now if you do track GST, then I highly, highly, highly recommend, please, that you get QuickBooks Online, that I can help you with, or Sage 50. They both have online programs now that are in the cloud. There's also desktop versions that are quite reasonable. But the thing with the $15 a month, $10 or $15 a month for the online versions is there are apps on your phone and your iPad that can go with you anywhere. You can quickly do a receipt, you can quickly send a customer an invoice, you can record an expense on the fly, and it's always in your book. So when you come back to your computer, to your desktop, everything that you've done that week or that month is all there. You can link up your banks and all your credit cards, even your personal bank account, so you can just catch things that are perhaps were business related. And they have a download feature that they download now right off your banks and credit cards websites, right into your books. You just need to allocate them. And that way you can track GST and or PST just more accurately, more professionally. And I've just gone through an audit with a client, and CRA is very happy with QuickBooks and how it works. That was not one of the issues. The IT audit portion was not one of their concerns when they knew what software my client was using. And I'm sorry, I just realized I looked over at the screen and I have a sun block here. I'm sitting in my office and the sun is just shining. I apologize. So hopefully that wasn't the whole video. So one of those two programs, so we do at Genesis Consulting, we do set up on QuickBooks for $500, and then we can do training on top of that. So, but please, it is quite, with just an hour or two of training, we can get you sort of set up. You can track your banks, your credit cards, your GST properly, and you won't miss anything. What I find with a lot of people that use Excel or shoeboxes and kind of save it to the end of the year is they miss a lot of receipts because things go missing. Okay? The nice thing about a credit card or bank statement downloading into your software is that it's a catch-all and everything usually gets caught. Okay, so every entry, every single entry, right from your $1.95 in service charges gets recorded, and that way when you go to your accountant at the end of the year, everything is just laid out in a statement for him, or you can invite him actually to look right into your books. Like for instance, you can have up to 2 accountants or bookkeepers that can access your books with our own passwords and see what you're up to, help you with training, fix some mistakes, and look at your numbers ourselves. So it really is very versatile for the small business. And even if you are running, say, a network marketing company or a small sales company, it really just is so worth the $15 a month, okay? I was just going to think if there's anything I needed to add to that. So it's June 15th is your deadline for self-employed people to get filed. Remember, your payment was still due April 30th. So even right now, if you know for a fact that you're going to owe taxes, that your business made money, and you've already plugged, say, your T4 income into a tax software program, or your accountant's already advised you that you're a break-even or you might owe a little bit, because not every company takes off enough. You need to be aware of that. They're supposed to, but it doesn't always happen. Then you need to make an installment right away. The quicker you can do that, the quicker you can ensure that the CRA sees you as a non-flaggable filer. In other words, you do things on time, your books are kept up, you just don't have a lot of issues of late payments and late filing, things that could flag you for an audit. So those are just things to kind of consider. And payroll right now, if you are doing payroll in a small business and you're a sole proprietor, please get professional help. I have seen so many issues in the last few months with payroll, and it's the CRA's new foot into your books. They don't just come and do payroll audits anymore. They ask for everything, and then they're just looking for anything they can at this point. So it's sort of a new thing for them, and people, if you're self-employed, vehicle expenses, salespeople with car allowances, things like that, you need to handle that appropriately and keep logbooks. There's apps that download to your phone now. You don't have to keep an old handwritten thing anymore. There's an app right on your phone, and keep these things because the CRA is cracking down on these areas and you need to be aware. Okay? So again, QuickBooks Online, that is an Intuit product, or Sage 50, that is oh, Shelley, Simply Accounting is now owned by Sage Software, sorry, Sage 50. Wow, maybe I shouldn't be making videos this early in the morning. Anyways, those are fabulous, just inexpensive programs. They are not designed for big businesses, okay? You need desktop versions for that, but just for the average small business, they are excellent and very affordable. Have a great day, everyone.